Today we're going to explore the features of Racktop's user behavior, analytics, and auditing. In today's scenario, we're going to look at a salesperson that recently left the organization to see if they might have taken some customer prospects and lead data with them. So in this scenario, we have our BrickStor, and it has multiple data sets, and the two folders we're going to focus on today are really the sales folder and the home directory folder. We have here a couple, and one is Sandy. Sandy, the salesperson, is the person we're going to investigate today, and we're looking at her activity before she left. We're going to be able to go into User Behavior tab, and right away from the User Behavior tab, we have a lot of flexibility to look at what's going on, what the most important and busy folders are, as well as drill down and filter to look at a specific user's activities. And so we can look at, different filters to see most active off hours, during normal hours, or the most active and most recent 30 minutes. Now, right now I have it set to the last 14 days off hours. And so we're going to filter and look at some specific stuff on a specific user. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the raw operations, and we're going to filter specifically on Sandy's activity. Now we have all the operations she's done on BrickStor. And we can see that most of it was done on November 10th. So I'm going to close this to make more room for our other work. And so we can actually see the time, her user ID, the IP she was using, where she was coming from, and the operations she performed, and the size of those operations, as well as what files she was working on. And so we get a sense here that she's doing a lot of reads, which would potentially be indicative of a copy because we see multiple reads within a very short period of time, and we can flip through different time periods looking at what she's done over the period of time. So here we can start to see some read and write activity, and so we can see her moving data from the sales folder into her home folder, the user Sandy folder. So we definitely see where she first is copying data to her home directory, and then earlier we saw where she was potentially copying all of the data off to some other device or somewhere else, or maybe emailing them to herself. Before we saw that she was copying a lot of data into her home directory, into that useful Sandy context. What I actually want to do now is quickly look at the activity of that folder and when she started doing that to get a better sense of what was going on. So I'm going to quickly open up the filters and then put them back in again. We're going to go and we're going to look at the data sets, and we're specifically going to go to her directory. Just go back to the global here and allow everything, and we're going to look at her path with her home directory and folder. A useful context, and look at all the activity there. And what we see is all the reads here. Let's go back a few times to see when she first started this folder. So here we see where she actually made the first record of anything with this folder. And we can see she created the folder here, and then we can see where she started to write data into it. So starting to do the copies where you see all these create of the file and the write of the file. This is where she started copying data out of the sales area into her personal home directory for useful context. And we see that happened at 6:36 p.m. on a Sunday. So this was right before she was about to leave the company. And we definitely have some evidence of potentially stealing data here. You can also filter by file type. So by entering an extension here, you could look for Excel files or CSV files or Access databases or whatever file extension, PDF, and it will filter just to that extension type. So there's a lot of granularity you can apply. It also supports case sensitivity, and you can see all of the filters that are being applied here, which you can remove as well. For more information, contact Racktop Systems.